Now, if I tomorrow had to start my agency completely from scratch, we're talking zero clients, and let's make it even harder and say zero capital, right? There's one way I would have done it if I had capital, and then there's one way I would have done it if I didn't have capital, right? And now we're talking about the way if I didn't have capital, okay? So the very, very first thing I would do, contradictory to what maybe a lot of people would say, is I would get a job, right? And as contradictory again as that sounds, I would get a job, right? And the reason I would get a job is to get capital, right? So I would get any type of job that I can be a little bit flexible on, right? And when I'm talking about flexible, I'm talking it could be a like delivery driver, right? It could be somebody that delivers what do you call it, like posts, like when you deliver like mail, like a mail boy. I would be a somebody that works in like a storage place, parking tickets, like whatever I can do where I can be flexible on my own and actually have flexible time throughout the day where I don't have to sit with other people or communicate with other people. Not for any weird reason in terms of that I want to be alone, but for the sake of actually working and being able to do what I need to do regardless, right? And here's how I would make that happen, right? So I would work there for about a month, right? I would stack up about, or not even a month, it depends on how much you get paid, but I would stack up about like 3K USD is what I would stack up. That's a fair number. And I would invest in two things, right? I would invest in a mentor, right? And I would also invest into the business, right? And when I say a mentor, I'm talking somebody that is exactly where you want to be. Now, this doesn't have to be somebody like Charlie Morgan doing multi-millionaires years. Like I would advise against that. I would rather you, whoever's watching this, invest into somebody that has been in your exact steps, right? Somebody that has gotten to 10K, right? Even if they're at 10K, invest into them, right? If they're at 15K, invest into them. What I did when I first started off, my first mentor, he was doing at that point 30K a month. Right. My mentor now is doing 70K a month. Right. So as soon as I had my mentor that got me to like my first 5K, he was doing 30K, so I still had a gap there. Obviously, I wasn't performing on what I was supposed to be performing on. After that, I got a new mentor, and then I scaled to my first 15K, and then to 20, 25K. I had a different I had the same mentor actually, and then after that, I had the mentor that I have right now that will now get me to 60, 70K a month, right? Point is, you're gonna need a mentor throughout the journey. So rather than getting one of those like big ass gurus that have a big ass course that isn't dedicated towards yourself, get someone that has been in your exact shoes and work with them one on one. Okay, shouldn't cost you too much. I don't know how much mentors charge nowadays, but even if you can, like pay for one on one, like hourly consulting, whatever you can, right? That's step number one. Get a mentor, right? After getting a mentor, what you would want to do is actually go ahead and start investing into ads, right? Start investing into ads with your business. Now, this is something that your mentor hopefully has done and will be able to cover with you, cover the whole ad process with you, but start investing into ads, okay? All of this while still working your job, right? Do that for about the first 2 to 3 months. I will guarantee you're going to hit your first 10K within that period as long as you do what you're supposed to do. And the reason you can do that is because you're going to set aside that whole time of when you're at work to actually work and be at work, right? This is why I told you, like, if you are going to get a job, try to get a flexible job because say you get a lead while you're at work, you can still call, right? If you're working like a parking ticket guy, you can still go out there and give parking tickets while being on the phone, right? When I used to go deliver mail, I could still call. If a lead came in, I could call. Why? Because I mean, who's going to say anything? I wear my AirPods. I'm walking around. I'm delivering mail, but then at the same time, I can communicate, right? Which was so nice because I could then set the call for whenever I was available, right? So I used to work like 3 hours like every single night. And I had blocked that 3 hour block out. And then after that, I would have a whole day for sales calls, right? So do something like that. Even if you're working 6, 7 hours, it doesn't matter. Block that time off and then have the whole rest of the day to actual take calls, right? Stack your calendar up. Within 2, 3 months, you're guaranteed going to be able to hit that first 10K. As soon as you've hit like I would say 5 to like 7K in revenue. At that point, you're making a lot more than what you would at your job. Assuming you're doing everything yourself, you're probably profiting about like 4 to 5K, depending on how much you're spending on ads, etc. At that point, quit your job. Like you don't have to work there anymore. Obviously, you can start if you ever need to again, but don't work at the job anymore. Reinvest everything into ads, right? As soon as you have a little bit of a basic understanding of what's kind of going on with your ads, say for example, you spend 3K and you break even on ads, double it, spend 6K, right? It's MRR, right? You're not collecting, I mean, unless you're collecting PIFs or one time like smaller setup fees, but you should be able to at least break even, if not obviously be profitable on the front end. But say even if you break even, double down, right? If your average retention with a client is say 5 months, right? If that's your average retention, well, it doesn't hurt you breaking even on the front end for the first month because you're going to retain that client for another 4 months ahead. So you're going to keep making money off of them, right? If a retainer is running you 1,500 a month, right? And say your CAC is 1,500, right? Which is very high, but let's just say that's the case. A client stays with you for 5 months on average. They pay you about 7,500 in actual like lifetime value. Your like return on investment is 5. Your return on investment is 5x what you spend. So basically you're putting $1 in and you're getting 5 out in the span of 5 months, which is a very, very profitable business model. And if I told you that, obviously you're looking at it, you're like, holy shit, why would I not reinvest? Because if you think about it this way, in 1 month, right? Say you're spending 3K, right? And you make that 3K back, right? The next month, you're now guaranteed that 3K with the first clients that you sign on in the first month. Now, what happens in month 2 is you spend 6K, right? You make an additional 6K. And now all of a sudden you're at 9,000, right? So you're already on that baseline of 9K MRR. Now the third month, say you spend 9,000, you get another 9,000 in, all of a sudden you're at 18K a month, right? And from there, you just keep scaling like that horizontally and boom, you're at like 50K before you even know it. That took me a long time to realize the way that that's working. So I'm trying to make my funnel a lot better to be able to do exactly that. But that's what I would recommend doing. And that's how I would restart. I would not try to, I know I've actually advised going towards like free trials, etc. You can do that actually when you're doing paid ads, but I would just not, in the day and age the agencies are going right now, I would not do that. I would not go towards free trials. I would not go towards anything else. I would purely just do what I'm talking about here. I would not do any free trials. I would not do any of that. I would just focus on the way that I broke it down here. If you have any questions, you need any help doing exactly that roadmap that I did, like feel free, shoot me a text on Instagram. I'm always happy to help. But I hope this helped anyone that is a little bit confused on the journey and want to know exactly what somebody would have done if they were back to the beginning. Especially now, moving into 2027, things are going to get a lot harder. So definitely get started as soon as you can. Right? Hopefully this helps somebody out there. And yeah, let me know what you guys think of these videos and leave anything in the comments. Again, reach out on IG if anything. Looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Thank you.